In hardcore World of Warcraft, the major cities of each faction found around the world often serve as locations of respite that give the player time to rest and replenish supplies for their next journey. The problem with this thought is that in actuality, it is very easy to die in a major city if you don't know what to look out for. Dying in Stormwind or Orgrimmar when you think you are safe is a terrible way to die in hardcore. Here's a list of how each of the major cities in the game can kill you in hardcore classic WoW, and how they are a terrible way to die. To begin, let's start with Stormwind, which is probably the most dangerous of the major cities, besides maybe Undercity, and there are a few reasons for that. The first thing of note is the Old Town Thugs and Dashful Stonefist, found in central Old Town. These are level 25 to 26 enemies that spawn in as part of the Missing Diplomat quest chain, particularly when you accept the 8th quest, 2 thugs will spawn. These enemies are openly hostile, not only to the person on the quest, but also to any nearby players. This is really bad for lower level players who happen to walk by, particularly when the person who was doing the quest died to the enemies or just ran away, causing them not to despawn and just wait there. This can result in a low level player walking by or into the alley, aggroing multiple mobs much higher level than them, which will likely result in their death. And if you are not a low level player, you can pretty easily die to this quest as well if you aren't expecting it, and you panic without using your tools or cooldowns. This isn't the only way to die in Stormwind though, there are several more in fact. One of which is the Sewer Beast, a level 50 rare elite crocolisk, which spawns at several points throughout the canals of the city. The Sewer Beast has a pretty long respawn timer, and is a highly valued pet for some hunter players, so you don't see it very often. But if you happen to jump in the water at the wrong time when he's patrolling by, you're almost always going to die unless you are a geared character near max level. Also, he is super hard to see, so odds are you won't know he is there till you are dead. The lesson here is just don't jump in the water in Stormwind. Another kind of enemy found in Stormwind is Bartleby, an NPC that is a quest giver for level 10 Alliance warriors. As part of the level 10 warrior questline, players will have to fight this NPC for the quest Beat Bartleby. This might seem unassuming since he is only a level 10 non-elite, but don't be fooled as he actually can hit quite hard for this level. A few unlucky misses in a row or a poor weapon could make this fight actually quite sketchy, and this can surprisingly get you killed really easily. A far less obscure and more widely threatening enemy in Stormwind has to be the Onyxia Elite Guards. These enemies spawn as part of an event during the Onyxia Attunement quest chain for Alliance players, and they are actually really scary even for max level players. These enemies are level 60 elites with 31,000 HP, which is crazy high. While you do have several NPCs to help you fight off these guards, there are still quite a few of them. If you happen to get threat on one of these elites, especially with poor gear, your odds of death are decently high. If you're not max level and you aggro one of these guards, you will probably be one shot, and they are pretty fast. Luckily, it is pretty hard to get threat since there are so many NPCs, but you can never be too safe. I would just recommend never going near the throne room if you see a single sign of these guards or this event, as you don't want to be the unlucky player who dies to another person's quest. Now, the final enemy for Stormwind, and technically Undercity 2, we have the Rift Spawns, which are part of a level 16 mage quest titled Investigate the Blue Recluse for Alliance and Investigate the Alchemist Shop for Horde. These Rift Spawns are invisible arcane elementals that need to be captured for the mage quest by using the given quest items. But the problem is that some of the areas you find these guys in are very cramped, with 3 or 4 packed in one place. This can result in you accidentally aggroing 4 of these guys at once unexpectedly. And since they do a lot of damage if you don't think fast, they can melt your health bar. It should also be noted that they are invisible but can be aggroed by any AoE spell, like Arcane Explosion or Frost Nova, so you could unintentionally pull a lot of these at once. These are mostly a danger to newer, unexpecting mage players, since they will often aggro a big group of these not expecting a challenge, and then they just fail to act quickly. As we reach the halfway point of this video, I just want to take a second to thank you for watching so far, and ask that you leave a like and a subscription if you are enjoying the video. If you find yourself coming back to watch multiple videos of mine, and you are not subbed already, make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell to see more from me in the future. Anyways, back to the video. Seeing as we are already talking about things in Undercity, let's move on to the other invisible enemies found here, but these are a threat to all classes and not just mages. What I'm talking about is the Loiteron citizens found at the above ground section of Undercity as you walk into the front entrance of the city. These are neutral level 15 ghosts that are invisible unless you have a way to detect invisibility. These are only really a threat to low level characters that accidentally use an AoE spell like Arcane Explosion or Demoralizing Shout, since they will take a sizable amount of damage from these ghosts and they can't even see them, often causing them to panic and sometimes die as a result. Other than the fact that these can kill, these are actually really cool enemies with their reference to Warcraft 3 and the chaos after Arthas killed his father. Lastly, for Undercity, there's the obvious boogeyman of hardcore that is always littered with corpses, and that is the Undercity elevator. Notorious for its insane speed and unforgiving boarding windows, this elevator kills people every day, and while it is kind of funny, it is really annoying if it happens to you, so just be patient and you won't die to this. Another elevator of note is the Thunderbluff elevator, which is not nearly as fast, but has no walls, so it is easy to fall off of. The same rule of patience for Undercity applies to Thunderbluff, and you will usually be fine. A far more annoying thing for Thunderbluff that is very rare, but I still thought I would mention, is glitching through the start of the rope bridges, causing you to phase through them and fall to your death. Of course, you could also just jump off the rope bridges and fall, which also happens more often than it should. So just have a way to negate fall damage on you at all times in Thunderbluff, and you'll be fine. Now let's move on to the final city for Horde with Orgrimmar, which has a few threats. First is more so a threat to bank alts more than anything, and that is Gammon. This is a pretty famous NPC that is a level 12 neutral Tauren found in the inn as part of an Orc Rogue quest, and he is usually harmless since he is a non-elite and is so low level, but can sometimes kill AFK players in the inn who accidentally aggro him. Additionally, he can kill level 1 bank alts who accidentally attack him if for some reason you do get too close, or he can be used to grief level 1 bank alts by people dragging him near where they have to click, causing him to attack them. You have to really not be paying attention to die to Gammon, but it does happen, so don't let your guard down completely. The second way to die in Orgrimmar is Spectral Stalkers found in Thrall's throne room, and these can be found on the Alliance side in Ironforge and Magni's throne room as well. These are usually pretty easy mobs that max level players tackle for their tier 0.5 quest chain after they turn in their quest for their upgraded bracers. The way these guys kill people is usually when they kill low level players just passing by who accidentally aggro them, causing them to usually be one shot. I see this happen more in Orgrimmar than Ironforge, as there are usually a decent amount of people running to Thrall for their Ragefire Chasm quest, but luckily this quest is not done by a lot of people, or at least not very often, so the odds of dying to this are pretty slim. As we look to Ironforge, I of course have to talk about the lava, which is threatening for obvious reasons. As long as you don't jump around aimlessly by the forge and fall in the lava, you will be fine, but if you do fall, you are going to die almost always. Luckily, there are invisible walls around the sides, not by the forge, so you should be fine most of the time. And lastly for this video, I thought I would mention drowning, as it can happen in most major cities. Drowning is pretty rare in these areas, and I don't see it happen almost ever, unless you are playing a gnome, in which being short causes them to drown in even tiny puddles. This happens most commonly in Darnassus, where there is a lot of water, so if you're playing a gnome, always remember to be cautious. And that concludes the video on how each major city can kill you in hardcore. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. If you have seen anybody die in the ways I mentioned in this video, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, I'm out.